Today on Pro Church Daily, we're talking about the most important marketing tool for every church.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Daily. It's the show where in 10 minutes or less, you'll get your daily dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift we've seen in the last 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills. I'm joined, as always, by the boss man. It's Brady Shearer. And today, we're talking about the most important marketing tool for every single church.
I grew up, Alex, attending a very small Baptist church out in the country.
Nice.
And when I say small, I mean, 25 or less. There was no PA system. We had one acoustic guitarist,
Amazing.
Overhead sheets, and
Yeah.
everyone would just sing a cappella. These are the days of Elijah.
What was your tambourine to congregant member ratio?
True story.
Far too high, I assume.
No, I had to fight to use the shaker. I was getting into drums in my teenage years, and I was like, guys, please let me use this shaker. And
No,
they're
it's
like,
too progressive.
Yeah, it was too progressive.
Yeah.
So I just sang, Behold it goes. This is the church that I attended. And the reason that I bring that up is because we had a single marketing tactic at this small Baptist church, white steeple at the bottom of a hill with 25 people and no PA system, and Brady singing Days of Elijah. Mm-hmm. We advertised in the local newspaper each and every week. It was in, the bottom right section where the rest of the classified ads
Church
were.
directory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it did not work exceptionally well for us, but that was what we did.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
There was really only a couple of options. Get inside the yellow pages in the phone book,
Yeah.
newspaper ad, that's about it.
We did it too.
Things are very different. There are so many options. We've got social media, email, text, direct mail, radio, television, mobile apps, print materials, content marketing, and it can feel intimidating for churches. And so I want to set the record straight that there is a singular, most important marketing tool for every single church, and that is your church's website. Beyond and before every other possible thing that you could do when it comes to marketing or outreach, if you don't care for the word marketing, when it's connected to a church, your website is the single most important platform that you have. Not too long ago, I was looking for a counselor. I wanted to go see a counselor for the first time. Yep. I was excited to, do some deep diving into who is Brady.
Nobody knows.
Nobody wants to know. That's why I had to pay a counselor. Of course, I didn't know where to begin. What do? I go on to Google and I start searching counselors in Niagara. Mm-hmm. I visited a number of different websites, and I think that looking for a counselor to looking for a church is pretty similar. They're both very intimate experiences. Yeah. They require a lot of the individual that's kind of stepping out to attend, show up for the first time. It's uncomfortable, unfamiliar, maybe a little bit awkward. I ended up choosing a counselor, not with the most credentials, not with the best reviews, not with the most reviews. I chose the one that had the best website, that had some reviews, and most importantly, for me at least in this instance, was I was able to book a time online.
Wow.
I found a website for another counselor, and I was sold on them, gave them a call, didn't pick up. Gave them another call, didn't pick up. Sent an email, didn't respond. This counselor, on the other hand, had an online booking form. I showed up, there he was. We had a great first experience together. That is how so many of us are discovering things online and taking steps into areas that are unknown to us previously. Yeah. We head over to the search engines, we pull it open, and we start looking. And we've got data to back this up. According to Forbes, 97% of people use search engines to look for local organizations.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Everybody does this. Yeah. 97%. That is literally everyone.
Yeah.
97%.
Yeah.
Crazily overwhelming. Another stat, this one comes from HubSpot, 46% of all searches on Google are local. So not just are a lot of people doing it, but a lot of people are doing it in volume. Yeah. So there's a lot of searches, almost 1 out of every 2 on Google is local. Mm-hmm. Finally, this one's also recorded by HubSpot. They did a survey of a bunch of different participants asking them, have you searched for a local business in the last week using your smartphone? 89% of the surveyed participants admitted to doing that. 58% agreed and admitted not just to doing it in the last week, but something that they do almost every single day.
I was going to say that. I think I probably do it every day.
So you would be one of those 40 or 58%.
Yeah.
This just goes to show how pervasive that search online is the way that we do things. And this is only going to increase. If you think about your church demographic, and maybe it's not full of millennials, but we've looked at the average time spent on at least social media when it breaks down per generations. Gen X actually spends more time each week on social than millennials. And even those 50 plus spend on average 4 hours every single week on social. So this isn't a thing that's only for young people. But with that being said, if you don't think that this type of statistic and data is only going to increase in the coming months, years, decades, then you got to be kidding yourself, because millennials, this is how we operate when we're looking for things, and Gen Z behind us is only going to exacerbate that and do it even more. So you've got to come down to this basic understanding. Why is your website your most important tool? Well, one, it's 100% owned and controlled by you, right? No one is going to take that away from you. The second thing is that discovery nowadays happens online. First impressions are made online. Before someone ever steps foot into your building on a Sunday morning, and what it's like for them to drive into the parking lot for the first time and shake hands with a greeter and figure out where to check their kids in, and then find a seat for the first time, and then the music starts, and then what happens? Before any of that can happen nowadays, they've already checked you out online. They've already formed a first impression of you, and for many, they've already made a decision solely on your website alone, whether or not they're going to attend your church, whether or not they think you are a good fit for them, they are a good fit for you. The other thing to consider about a website is that really it's the only property that your church possesses that's open and available 24/7, of course, 365. Your building closes at 5 p.m. on weekdays, and it's closed on the weekends except for Sundays, on average. Your staff are not available 24/7. Maybe one of the pastors is in case of emergency, but aside from that, they work 9 to 5. That's it as well. Your website, 24/7, 365. Whether I'm in the break room at 11 a.m. trying to register for a small group, whether it's Saturday night and I'm a new visitor looking for a church, or whether it's 1 a.m. and I'm just wanting to listen to a recent message because I'm feeling lonely and hopeless and I need some hope, your website can be there to facilitate that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that gets overlooked. We touched on it last week talking about, the three marketing tools. We talked about website and email and Facebook, but there are so many, like you said at the beginning of this episode, there are so many avenues that we can market our church and get the word out there, and especially to smaller churches that are predominantly volunteer run, that can seem daunting. Where do we begin? Well, don't overlook your website. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Start with your website, and then once you master that and you have a great web presence, then you can move on to email and Facebook and start going a little wider. But let's not overlook our website. This is our, like you said, our front door. It's open all the time. This is where our first impressions are made. So let's start there.
It's not nearly as cool and sexy as some other platforms, but it's just way more important. The ROI there just overwhelms pretty much every other platform.
For sure.
That'll do it for today's episode of Pro Church Daily, but we want to help improve your website. So we've put together this really cool download of 7 church website page templates.
Cool.
We're talking a plan a visit template, a kids ministry template. These are the types of templates that have pre-written copy, pre-written structure, and this is exactly how we would structure these pages, these most important pages on your website. One of the pages that I mentioned, a plan a visit page. This is a page that every single church website needs. We've broken it down into a 5-part framework. This is probably the most important page on your website when it comes to making first impressions. Someone lands on your website for the first time, they're a potential new visitor, they need something just for them. You can create a page called Plan a Visit that's going to walk them through. This is exactly what you can expect and plan for when you visit our church in person for the first time. We've got pre-written copy, pre-written frameworks, giving it away for free. Awesome. The link to access these, prochurchtools.com/nucleus.
Nice.
prochurchtools.com/nucleus is the place to get access to those. Thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. We'll see you tomorrow. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode of Pro Church Daily. Make sure you turn on notifications for this channel so you never miss another video, and subscribe as well.
And if you like this video, it'd mean the world to us if you give it a thumbs up.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.